release 4. So there you go, perfect. Release 4, last Avocado release of the 2025 year. So thanks everyone for the ride. We'll have more user groups, but this will be the last one for releases until we get into the new year. So as always, fortunately, we got it working. So this meeting is being recorded. You will get the recording and the slide deck after. If you have any questions, pop your hand up. It's the little hand emoji at the bottom of the Google Meet. You can also put your questions in the chat and we'll try to answer them as we go. But we do have a formal Q&A at the end if anyone has questions, comments, or feedback. All right, and our agenda for today. So a couple really big features, and then we'll get into some of the smaller ones and some of the bug fixes. Key features in this release, we have added a donation to the shopping cart for kind of checkout in the menu and portal. We've added the ability to scan products at the point of sale. We've created a Google Tag Manager implementation. We've added an expected attendance Lightning Web component. We've given the ability to have multiple users logging into the same account. And then we've done quite a lot of work. I'll give Elizabeth a shout out on our tax calculations and how we're doing like post-tax pricing now as an option, as well as just a ton of other features and changes and bug fixes. Before I get into Avocado specific, I know Matthew presented on Dreamforce and kind of what's upcoming for Salesforce, but I wanted to just touch on what you currently have, because a lot of you have gotten the winter release into your production environments recently. So there wasn't any critical changes that you needed to make for this. If there were, we would have reached out to you individually. But there's a couple features that I just wanted to kind of highlight because I think as admins, these potentially make your lives a lot easier. So the big one is we being Salesforce has added list view enhancements. So when you get that nice little chart of click these fields to move them into the ones that are visible, you can now key in the letter to take you down the list. So if you have 27 options and you want to get to letter R, you can key in the letter R and it'll take you down to R in the list. So very small thing, but huge quality of life improvement if you've ever had to scroll through one of those gigantic lists. Salesforce has also beta added the ability to disable formulas when you export reports. So I always make the joke that Excel thinks everything is a date. So this basically gives you the option to add an apostrophe around your formula so that that formula isn't enabled when you go into Excel. They've also launched new field history tracking interface. So in the Salesforce backend, you'll be able to see this now. It's just a nicer UI. It's a lot cleaner, a lot easier to see. They give you like your tracking limits at the top and where you're at, instead of having to select all your buttons and then them tell you that, oh, sorry, you actually picked 3 too many. So a little more front-end UI. Again, not a huge change, but a big quality of life if you're in there a lot. Additionally, they have added field history tracking on the user object. So this is something we as TechShare are taking advantage of with a couple new features that are coming out. But basically, it allows your admins the ability to track changes to the user. So if you're changing time zones, changing permissions, things like that, you do have the ability now to track that. It is in beta, so if you do want to try it, it is something you'll have to enable under setup user management. And then finally, we kind of sneak peeked this with the waitlist manager. We saw that this was coming with Salesforce and kind of got a little bit ahead of it. But you do now have the option to column sort your list views. So if you want date that the instance starts and then potentially the date that public visibility starts, you can now add those fields. Again, it's only certain supported fields for Salesforce right now, but you can add those 5 columns and ascending or descending sort options. A couple key actions. Again, if you were truly required and we were going to have a problem, we would have reached out, but just a couple things to kind of be aware of. If you do have unverified email addresses in your Salesforce because you created them prior to 2016, they will need to be verified in order to send any emails. So this goes for anytime you're adding those staff. If you want them to send a waitlist email, you want them to send a case email, they need a verified email address in order to be able to do that. Salesforce has kind of slowly been rolling this out and pushing it back. They've now gotten to the point that every user does require this. So again, we probably already got you because this was kind of the last step, but just something to be aware of if you have a couple legacy users in your system. The ability to restrict who can run flows. So again, this kind of came in Salesforce summer. Obviously, our Avocado user has this permission to run any of our flows. But if you are creating flows, make sure that if your user is going to be the one running them, that they have this permission or your flow is not going to work. Additionally, it is replacing the previous flow sites org permission, which just basically gave all users the ability to do this. They've kind of rolled that back, and now you do need to specify which users can run the flow. So again, not something that you need to worry about if you're only using ours and our users running them, but if you're creating your own, just something to keep in mind. And then references to legacy host names is automatically enabled. So redirection ends for all production and demo orgs in winter 2026. So if you kind of have those legacy names, reach out to us. Again, most of you already have had this in production for a few weeks. So ideally, we've already kind of had those conversations with you. On to Avocado. I just want to touch on, as always, our standard kind of timeline. We're chatting review of the release notes and features today. Once this is available, we can work with you to get it into your sandbox, test anything that you feel like you want to implement, as well as kind of your core functionalities. And then when you're good to go, let us know and we'll get it deployed for you in production. All right, on to the Avocado features. So the biggest one and the one I am most excited about for you all this release is the ability to add donations at the point of sale. So this is customizable. There's about 4 custom settings that can control it. You can add it to either the menu and portal or one or the other. If you only want one side, not the other. Additionally, you can specify your amounts. So right now for V1, we just did whatever your set amounts are or kind of your set amounts across the entire organization. So you can see in my example, I have a couple numerical values, $1, $2, $5. We do support cent values. So if you want to do that 50-cent donation, you totally can. As well as we put in a roundup option and a custom option. So custom allows the user to key in the type of donation they would like to make. So maybe I'm feeling generous and I would like to donate $10. I can do custom and be asked to input that donation amount. And then roundup will round your order up to the nearest dollar. If you are on a $0, it will round up to the next dollar after that, if you were 0 cents. You do have the ability to customize this language file in the portal. Again, it is changeable if you're running a very specific campaign. You're looking for backpacks for kids, or maybe your annual campaign, you can put that detail in as part of the language file to push that messaging to your customers in the portal. Additionally, we can offer custom consulting if you wish to integrate this with your donation software. Right now, this is just a product in Avocado that you would set up and sell. But if you want it to flow into like an NPSP, an NPC, whatever donation software you're looking at, that is something we can work with you on. You just reach out to your account manager to get that set up. On the point of sale, we have added the ability to scan barcodes for products. So basically trying to speed up that point of sale. If you're selling sweaters or you're selling merch, goggles, we typically see you do have the ability to set barcodes now. There is a new field on the product. It's up to you. If you want to set the UPC barcode, you're more than welcome to. You can also do a custom barcode. So we do sometimes see if people are going to run a specific event, maybe they print out a sheet of all the barcodes of all the things they're selling, and they just scan off that sheet. That is an option as well. Obviously, it requires a scanner to be connected. You can key in barcodes if you need to. but we would recommend a scanner. We do have recommendations for those in the full user manual if you're looking for some guidance. Google Tag Manager. So we have created functionality to support Google Tag Manager in Avocado. And what this does is it really gives ideally your marketing team, but hopefully anyone who's running analytics, some insight into kind of their ads and the customer journey. So this is going to let you track your entire journey from someone seeing a Facebook advertisement on Facebook into the shopping cart and checking out in Avocado. So again, controlled by custom settings, very similar to the analytics setup if you are running Google Analytics with us, where basically you'll enter your Google Tag Manager code, and then there's a button to turn it on and off. This obviously does require you having Tag Manager and kind of analytics and the whole Google side configured. But again, that's something we can help you with if it's something you're interested in. We have created a new Lightning Web component that allows you to add attendances for a selected contact. So a couple places we kind of see this going is being added to the Kiwi homepage, added to the Engage contact page, or the Salesforce contact backend. Again, this will not be automatically deployed for you. It's something you can opt into if you would like. But basically what this lets you do is if you were running a bunch of free programming in your facility, someone comes in for the day and says, "Hi, I'm here for the day. I'm Rachel Quinn." You now have the option to say, "Hey, what programs are you going to today?" Check all the boxes of all the programs that are running today based on the location and facility, and then add an attendance record for those that they can then use and Engage to check in. So this currently does not have an order impact. So this is just adding attendance records. We're not changing order quantity or charging for these. But you can do it for someone who does have a registration or someone who does not. If they have a registration, it's just going to add the attendance to it. And if not, it's just going to add the attendance record. So if you've ever used the attend button in Engage, this works very similar. It just lets you do, instead of being in the instance and finding the person, it lets you go from the person to any instance available that day. So again, this is just something that is optional for you. We'll likely deploy it in Sandbox so that it is there for you to test. But if you would like it in production, something to speak to your account manager about. Typically, yeah, Dave, you would have a check-in desk, and it does not take one spot out. It's just an attendance record. No problem. All right, multiple portal logins. So we heard a couple of you very loud and clear that sometimes I don't want to be responsible for my husband signing up for Pilates. Sometimes I want him to be able to do that himself. So we have given you the ability with a custom setting to enable manager contacts on the same account. So we have this portal enable multiple logins custom setting. If that is set to true and you have a contact who is set to manager, you will now see that the enable button is available to enable that contact. They will get your standard, whatever current email you have set up for the portal when your user's created. They will get that sent with their password reset email. So same functionality as when you enable a primary. But the one thing we do want to make you aware of is this does count as an additional community user login. So again, if you're being mindful of how many logins you have in a month, just know that if you suddenly give everyone both the ability to do that, that may increase your license usage for that. So just something to be aware of depending on where you're at with your licensing. Okay, I'm going to try to do this in the most non-financy end user facing friendly way. But basically, we've created the ability to include tax in the price. So typically, this is going to be very large for our Australian clients who are used to seeing this way. However, we did recognize that some of our Canadian and American clients also want to have just a nice round price at the end of the day with the tax included. So sometimes I don't want to sell a day pass for $9.50 plus tax. I just want to sell it for $10 all in. So you do now have the ability to set that up this way. So a couple things on the product, you're now going to see a post-tax calculation field. This is a checkbox. If you set it to true, it says that when I set this price, it's going to be the post-tax price to use. And then you do set the post-tax price as well. You'll see this with price books and with the products. So again, instead of setting your $9.95 or $9.50 plus 5% tax, you can now set it to $10 and it'll back calculate the tax to get the new unit price for you. And we've handled the rounding as well. So I know sometimes if you try to do that with the percentage, you end up with like a 1001 or a 999. We did handle the rounding so that you can get that solid round number now. And then the other thing is, if you are, this largely again would be for our non-Australian clients. If you are choosing to do this, we did create a custom setting that displays basically a message that says the taxes are included with this price. So typically, because the default in Avocado for Canadians and American clients is to not show the tax in the price, we've given you that visual indication that this product is actually set up differently. It does have the taxes included. When you sell those items at the point of sale, if the tax is included, you'll see it underlined here as well. So I can see my taxes. My total is $9.95. My total for my product is $9.95. This is a backwards calculation, for lack of a better word, to get the $1.14 taken out of the unit price. So again, work with us. I understand this isn't like the easiest thing to kind of understand. Maybe soft launch with like your 1 day pass or 1 or 2 products that you want to go live with if you're not doing this a full change. But work with us, test and sandbox, make sure this is working the way you expect it to if you're going to do 2 different types of pricing. All right, couple additional features. So a little less flashy on these ones, but still important. We've added some general ledger validation for products and price book entries. So when we are doing our finance project, we notice that we're seeing people setting up revenue on AR products, and then on revenue products, setting an AR account. So we've done some validation just to kind of help avoid that user error. There are ways to configure it to work around it that we can work with you if you have a very specific use case where it needs to go a different way than what we would expect. There are overrides we can help you use to set it that way. We've added functionality at the member package level to force the assignment of a contact during menu sale. So sometimes if you have a price group, for example, where I need to know the age of the person to sell a specific product on a membership, you can now require that that membership be assigned. We put it at the package level because we understand sometimes you definitely want to assign certain ones, but maybe they're sharing a punch pass. Maybe I'm going to use it and then I want to trade it over to someone else, or I don't know who's buying it. You have that option too. It's configurable package level for you. We did remove the ACP, so account contact permission trigger. So what this did before, if anyone ever tried to merge an account, you would end up with 2 account contact permissions that were both primary, and you could not delete one that was set to primary without. So now you do have the ability to delete this. It does support just native Salesforce rules. You have to have delete permission to be able to delete it. And we did give you some reporting so that you can manage if you're giving this permission out, are there any accounts where there's no primary assigned? So again, we don't anticipate you getting into that. It's really designed to make merging a lot easier. And if you're using certain merge software to make that easier. But we did give you just kind of that safety net that if you do decide to allow your end users to do it, there is an exception report. We did add integration to Global Payments Oceania for our Australian customers. It's a new card present and refund PIN pad kind of config, so that is available now. We did continue to add a couple custom portal homepage features. So we created a Avocado alert that kind of matches the Avocado notification functionality. So it's a little nicer visually, it's a little less native Salesforce. So that is available now for you if you have that set up. And additionally, we moved the custom setting that validated if there was a payment on an account when renewing memberships to the membership level. So currently we had this as a global on or off. We've now given you the ability to do it at a package level. So if you have this on currently, we will turn it on for all your packages when you go live. If you have it off, we will leave it off. But we understood that there sometimes is exceptions to those rules where certain memberships, free memberships, staff memberships, I don't need them to have a payment method on the account, but I still want them to renew. So you can now exclude those from that calculation. More features, we have created the ability to charge a membership fee or like an annual facility fee that can or cannot be tied to a membership when you make basically any purchase other than a point of sale purchase right now. So if I had a $15 annual fee that I charge everyone who comes through my doors, you do now have the ability to automate that. This does require a bit of custom code and would be something you would work with us on, but we do have that functionality to include that as part of Avocado. We have, can you toggle it off at sale? Currently not, Corey. It is all custom code though. So it would just be based on whatever your validation rules are for it. We've added functionality to redirect users to log in when they're looking at My Profile, My Programs, My Schedule, those deep links. We recognized that more and more of you are using deep links, which is very exciting. There's a lot of value there, but that you don't want to link them to a page where there's nothing on it. We want to force that login first. So that is going to be included. We have increased the number of partitions for platform events, which is just a fancy way of saying we can put more platform events through at a time to kind of speed up the volume of registrations when you're hitting those high volume registers. So just some speed enhancements to checking out in the portal. We've added the ability to create adjustments based on the number of hours a week someone is attending specific programs. So kind of like a bulk discount, if I'm going to 4 hours of gymnastics a week and then now I'm going to 6, I can get an additional discount because I'm doing 6 hours a week. So this will be something we continue to expand. This is kind of our first version of it, but we do see this going to, if I'm registering for 6 weeks of camp, maybe I get a certain discount versus if I registered for 4, or if I did 3 days of a program, maybe I get the 4th day free. So that's kind of where we see it going, but we've started with the hours of class a week. And then we've added some validation to kind of help with some of the payments in processing. So if you've ever had a payment get stuck, we found a couple key areas where staff were kind of getting into a bit of a funny spot and causing those. So we've added some validation that should help diminish how frequently that's happening. We've just added some checks where you will get kind of the warning that you can't proceed with this if they're on the wrong page or if they're trying to do something that they're not paired up to do. So you switched payment processors, we're trying to go back to an old card and an old token that maybe is no longer supported. And then this last one is validation for, again, the finance work that we are continuing to work on. We found a bit of a spot where sometimes if you buy something and then you cancel your registration really quick, the general ledgers hadn't been created yet, so they were getting into an inconsistent state. We've just put in some validation to help mitigate that going forward. Again, it's largely when you have those higher volume registrations. And then just a couple bug fixes to make you aware of. We fixed an issue where submitting pre-filled file and signature prompts were causing some issues in the Avocado portal. We fixed an issue with your payment scheduler batch size. So some of the batches were getting really large and hitting some query limits. So we've cleaned that up a bit. We fixed an issue with two issues with dependent memberships where certain conditions stopped them from being able to be sold in the future, or if they had a hold in the past, it was impacting their eligibility. We have about 9 Mango tasks in this release, so I didn't put them all in here, but if you are using Mango and you want more detail, they will be included in the release notes, but a lot of them are just general quality of life feedback from people who are beta testing. So things like warnings that you're navigating off the page, loading things a little nicer, certain feedback like that. And then finally, we fixed an issue where in the portal rollover registration, the ability to opt in or out wouldn't display under certain circumstances. I wanted to give a bit of a storage update as well. So we are currently moving on to user acceptance testing with the client that we are working with to get this V1 off the ground. So we're going to be testing our external reporting system to make sure that the reports outside of Avocado and Salesforce align with what you have archived as well as what is in your live system. So we're working on that. We're then going to be doing a full run of QAing and removing basically any GL master, even if it is canceled or reversed, making sure those reports look as expected and making sure all those orders function as expected in Avocado. And then we'll be reaching out. I know there's a couple clients who are very interested in this about phased rollout to everyone else. So if you are one of those clients, I'm sure your account managers probably already told me, but if not, definitely something to bring up with your account manager at your next meeting. And then finally, we have had the PSI to OI task in quite a few of our customers' environments for a bit now, where we're ready to proceed with coding the removal of deprecating that object. So that'll be upcoming as well. And then everyone's favorite part, what's coming up next. So we are working with our friends at Calgary to sell multiple memberships in the menu. So similar to how we do the portal and you can add a bunch to the cart, we're working on bringing that functionality into the Avocado menu. I think this one's going to be a long time coming, but we are actually done this task. It'll be available in the new year to give you the ability to restrict primary contact age when you create an account. So if you don't want someone under 18 registering for an account in the portal, you will now have that ability. We're working on a lot of point of sale improvements just to reduce extra clicks, make that process a little quicker, and kind of clean up some of the UI. We are also working on the ability to select days of the week to attend in the portal. So childcare camp, maybe you offer 5 days a week, but you let people come only Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Give people the ability to select Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Give pricing based on the days you select, and then also do capacity based on the day for that. So if I had 20 spots in my instance, I have 20 kids on Friday. When kid number 21 tries to register, they would only be able to register on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then additionally working to create some rules around that, like if I buy Monday, I have to buy Wednesday, etc. So lots to come on that. And then again, I know it's probably early to start thinking of this, but you might be thinking about fiscal year end. But we do have a couple tax receipt improvements coming for the new year. So again, just to make sure those are in your environment once we get kind of that February tax run. And then anything that comes up as we're working with you all on the finance project. I know you saw a couple of tasks sprinkled in here. As tasks continue to come up, they'll get added into our development cycle to be worked on. But that is all I have for release 4. I'm going to open the floor if there's any questions, comments. I think I got everyone who asked something in the chat. Other than you're welcome, Corey. That's the only one I missed. But if anyone has anything else, feel free. Or if there's anything you're excited about, let us know. And we're happy to help you get this into Sandbox and start testing. Go ahead, Kaylin.
This is very exciting. I love that you said like, that's all. And I'm like, that's a lot. That's more than all. Yeah, so exciting. Lots of stuff. So thank you guys so much. Question about the donation at the point of sale. How does that work for non-fee programs? So like drop in, for example, for us, for members, there's no fee. And so at the moment, it's kind of carrying them through kind of past having at the point of sale, it just like carries them through so they don't have to have as many extra clicks. If we enabled the donations for the portal, would that require them to have those kind of extra clicks again at the point of sale?
Live on that shopping cart page, where if you had a $0 total, it would say like checkout. It actually lives just above that when you add it in. So then obviously if they did add a donation, they would go through the rest and pick their credit card and check out. But if they didn't, they would just still hit that complete checkout and take them through.
Beautiful. Okay, amazing. I did have one other question, if that's okay. The Google Tag Manager, and apologies, I'm not as familiar with Google Analytics and the Tag Manager, but I know our marketing team is interested in like being able to kind of track, like I think the full cycle of somebody through the port, like have they left something in their cart and that kind of thing. Is that part of what we can track in Google Tag Manager, or is that more so kind of where they came from to get to the portal?
It's both for Google Tag Manager. Yeah, so that is, again, analytics, we did a couple spots. Tag Manager basically just kind of lets you put it in the heading of all the pages and see what they're kind of clicking on. So again, it's very marketing driven. So if you're on this call and you're not your marketing team, like chat with them about it, because that's who we typically see pushing for it. But again, it gives you those types of like, did someone abandon their cart? Did they add a $600 product to a camp to their cart and then leave? You get more of those kind of granular details with it, as well as where did they start? Did they start at Facebook? Did they start on your website, Instagram, whatever social media you maybe used?
That's amazing. Our marketing team will be very happy about that. They're excited for that kind of data. So that's awesome. Thank you.
No problem. There's about like, I think 25 to 35 points that we have all spots where you can kind of see all the buttons. I can send that over to you if you want to.
Yeah, that'd be great. Amazing. Thank you so much.
No problem.
It might make sense to, like, as they're using it or if they start using it, make sure you include your account manager so that we can make sure they succeed. We don't want to just throw it over the fence to them and then see it not work. If there's something small we can do to help you, please let us know.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
Go ahead, Dave.
For the discounts based on hours usage, is that like within a certain instance or program, or does it cumulatively, if somebody's signing up for like multiple instances, but it's the same program, how is it calculating that?
So we've added an object called Program Family, which is a global pick list, kind of similar to category, and kind of like a mix between category and product family, basically, on the program that lets you assign programs to that family. And then that's what's used to create this discount. So you could have one program in it. You could have all your wet programs, like swim programs in it. We kind of gave you the flexibility of what's considered under that using that program family pick list.
And is it like one discount you're able to apply at a certain level, or can you have, you know, if you're doing 3 hours, it's this much. If you're doing 6 hours, this much, 9 hours, this much?
So you'd have different adjustments for different percentages, but yeah, you can apply a both, and I think we have 9 for the example we're doing for this.
Okay.
And again, to the half hour, to the 15-minute if you really want to. But basically it'll always give you the max you're eligible for. So if I had a discount that was 2 to 4 hours and 4 to 6 hours, and I registered for 4 hours, I would get the 4 to 6 hour rule applied to my order.
Great. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Again, that might be one we work with you to set up because it's a little trickier than just a straight, you get this amount off if you're this person, but we can help with that as well.
Great. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Adam?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for the presentation. This looks great. We're celebrating especially the package by package require payment method change. That'll be great. My question is about the roadmap for the future. Facility bookings, is that still something you're cranking away at? The ability to potentially like build a schedule pattern and reapply it, things like that?
I think facility bookings is going to be its own kind of, for lack of our better word, sprint, where we kind of do a review. We're doing kind of the membership piece right now, as well as kind of registrations to see just where we can optimize those. But I think it'll be point of sale, registrations, and membership, and then facility booking will be really close behind that. And we'll work with our clients that we know do a high volume of facility bookings, just to kind of see where are maybe the gaps and what is it that would really give you that like 95% of what you do. So yes, on the roadmap, definitely coming, but just behind some of the membership, registration, and point of sale pieces. Corey?
Hi, yeah. Sorry, a great update. Lots of good stuff that we've been kind of waiting for. One of the items, the ability to add that admin fee to products. I really like that idea. I think my question was just, we have memberships that we sell at admin fee, we add it on at point of sale, but if you're renewing your membership within a certain amount of time frame, we don't charge it. So that's where the question was about toggling it off. So by default it'd be on, but if I was an old member and I'm within my 3-month renewal time frame, we'd like to be able to remove it. So that's something that'd be a nice little added feature to that enhancement.
Yeah, I think we have a way to do it that if like you were buying like a package that was the equivalent, it would be excluded from adding the fee. So I don't think it's that far of a stretch. We just didn't do the renewal piece in version 1. So
yeah, everyone's got a different setup, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, the tax one is great. I think our memberships, we sell them like as a round number, so having to not break out the tax every year is good. So thank you for that quality of life improvement.
No problem. I know it's really hard to get something right on $10 with 13 or 5% tax, I've learned.
Exactly.
Awesome. Anyone else got anything?
Appreciate all the hard work, Rachel. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't take credit for all of it. Definitely a team effort. I know our developers are on the call as well as our support team. So I am just the face of this presentation. It is all of them that truly make this possible. So, but yeah, thanks everyone. Release 4, last one. So finish out the year strong, and then looking forward to chatting about what comes up next year. It sounds like a couple of you already have ideas. So looking forward to picking your brains about some things we move forward with in the future.
Thank you.